Now this is getting very interesting. Our political landscape, our political scene in Kenya is getting extremely interesting. And they are very exciting for those who want real change in our country, Kenya. Now, when NASA first announced the formation of the National Resistance Movement, most of us were puzzled. I must confess, even I was puzzled. Most people thought of violent protests. Most people thought of armed struggle. Many people at least thought there would be demonstrations on the streets, the whole time, 24/7, yeah? Actually, the right word is chaos. Yeah, it was clear to everybody that this was going to be a very chaotic movement, very chaotic strategy. Yeah, it was just going to be chaos, yeah? Of course, many believed it would reap the desired effect, but many feared the chaos that would need to come before we get those results. But folks, now the NASA plan is beginning to crystallize. And my, oh my, oh my. Now let me paint a picture for you. Jubilee know that they're up against NASA, and they've been focusing a lot of effort and time on the Supreme Court, on a challenge in the Supreme Court, yeah? Following, the usual, yeah? And to be very honest with you, inaonekana wamefanya kitu. Because Najib Balala came up with a very interesting statement today. He said he's very confident that Uhuru Kenyatta's win is going to be vindicated, confirmed by the Supreme Court. Anyway, so that is where Jubilee are focusing. Then suddenly, the people at the coast, NASA supporters at the coast, or rather coast politicians who are ndani kabisa in NASA, come up with a statement. They announced that they want to secede from Kenya. Okay, and they say they're going to do the thing legally and so on and so forth. Now we also Jubilee's reaction to that. Yeah, it seemed that the high command said something like, nothing to worry about. These are just coast guys making noise as they usually do. We'll deal with that. Yeah, that's not a big issue. Okay, and Jubilee continues to focus on the Supreme Court. Yeah, now NASA have promised they'll not contest his win in court, because as far as they're concerned, there was no election which took place. And true enough, NASA kept their word. They're not seen anywhere near the court, near the Supreme Court. Yeah. Now, as Jubilee are focusing there, pop, another statement comes out from Nyanza. Yeah. Or rather, before we go into that statement, in Nyanza, Siaya County, to be more precise, yeah, the county assembly there passes, yeah, a law. People have forgotten that laws can actually be passed at the county level, yeah, affecting the county. Yeah, that's in our new constitution. People are so focused on national laws, yeah. People have forgotten that counties also have the jurisdictions, they have the power, they have the prerogative to pass laws, yeah. And so a bill sails through the Siaya county government, yeah, legalizing and establishing the people's assemblies. Now it's becoming very clear that we will have many other counties that are controlled by NASA, yeah, that will pass similar laws and that will have the people's assemblies in those particular places. You get my drift? Wow, this is huge. This people assemblies thing. Yeah. Now, as Jubilee are still trying to chew on that, pop, another statement from Nyanza, yeah, Nyanza MPs. Now, these are the Nyanza MPs who are at the border, yes, with Uganda, and they complain about constant harassment by the Ugandan government, arresting fishermen, and so on and so forth, yes. And they say categorically that we are tired of not being protected by our own government as a foreign government harasses our people. And of course, the solution, secession. Wow. So what is happening here is attacks from several fronts. Yeah, you can imagine an army marching against another army. They use their strengths and they attack on several fronts. Instead of attacking on one front where the enemy is expecting, they attack on many fronts. Now, it's very important that we get one thing right. As a result of these new developments, the importance and the significance and the impact of the Supreme Court ruling, whatever it will be, has been reduced dramatically. Now, I've said here, and it has been said in very many other forums by legal experts, both within the country and outside the country, that the 26th October elections, or rather, let me put it the way Bwana Miguna put it, the 26th October coronation activities were much worse than the August 8th coronation activities. Now, the August 8th elections were nullified. So the 26th October elections, hata usiseme, yeah, they should obviously be nullified. There are so many illegalities. Illegalities of August 8th multiply by a number of times. Yeah. Anyway, even after all that, in case the Supreme Court rules in favor of President Uhuru Kenyatta, yeah, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter anymore. Because, in fact, in my view, it will be much worse for Jubilee if the Supreme Court rules in their favor. Why do I say that? And I'm very serious about this. It will be to Jubilee's favor if the 26th October elections are nullified, because there will be no substantive government to continue this NASA attack, this NASA war in quotes, if I can call it that. Yeah, there'll be no serious, substantive legal government to continue the attack against. Yeah, so at least Jubilee will have time to breathe and regroup and think of what next. Yeah, but if the Supreme Court says, okay, fine, then, as a result of what has been happening behind the scenes, if the Supreme Court rules fine, yeah, President Uhuru Kenyatta was elected, okay, according to the law, the 26th October elections were fine, blah blah blah, let's go on to the swearing in. Now, if that happens, it will catch the NASA juggernaut in full speed. Yeah, and I assure you, Jubilee will be backpedaling. Okay, that's really the reality of the situation. Strange, odd, but that is the truth. Now, the press conference by Nyanza legislators who are bordering Uganda, whose constituencies border Uganda, and whose constituents are being harassed by a foreign government, yeah, that was a masterstroke. I said earlier on that when you want to secede, you've got to have grounds, yeah, and the stronger the grounds, the better. Okay, so you consider this. What NASA would have done, they would have just come out with a statement and said, we want to secede, yeah, and we have grounds, blah blah blah. That would not have been as effective. Yeah, but instead what we're having is different regions with their own issues, very strong legal issues, coming up and says, hii mambo ya Kenya hatutaki tena, we want to secede. Yeah, Coast has already done that. Yeah, we now have Nyanza yeah, threatening to do that. Yes, and I have no doubt on my mind that that's the direction they're headed. They too have their own grounds, very different from, not very different, but quite different from Mombasa grounds. Yes, and other regions are going to follow suit. Yes, and then of course, since everybody has got his own points, his own whatever, this becomes a very difficult thing to deal with. You imagine you're in government, how do you deal with this? Yeah, you have the problem in the Supreme Court, you're trying to deal with that. At the same time, other problems are cropping up all over the country. And that's not all. Yeah, then there's economic boycott. Hey, NASA are serious. Hey. Now, as I said in an earlier recording, the economic boycott is not only effective, but it is making it very, very crystal clear to the whole world where the tyranny of numbers are. It's becoming very clear, yeah, because if the majority in the country voted for President Uhuru Kenyatta, then the boycott should have minimal effect, because the majority in the government and the majority in the country are in support of the government. Yeah, but if the majority in the country are against the government, then all these strategies, all these moves being put together, they're lethal. Now, in the next episode of this series, we're going to try and predict what's going to happen going forward. That should be very, very interesting. You know the usual drill. As soon as that recording is ready, look out for the link on your top left-hand corner of the screen. Click on it and you'll be on to part 2. See you there in a bit. This is Chris Kumekucha.